had to go and Google what was 4IR, right? Because I missed the first three. But I think what is key, and the fact that you're a technical advisor and you work for the MICT SETA, you perform such a phenomenal change agent into the South African economy. So let me see if I can try and get these 4 questions into one. What gaps do you see and challenges do you see in the inclusion, the adoption, and most importantly, the most underserved communities out there? How do we potentially also try and transform and get that to obviously being adopted far more aggressively?
Sure, thank you. I'll just try and answer it holistically, covering other aspects that I think is beneficial for the participants here. You spoke about the president when we as a country were starting to embrace the fourth industrial revolution. He then commissioned a commission, which is known as the PC4IR, Presidential Commission on 4IR, to develop some of recommendations that will help us as a nation not to just become a consumer of these technologies that are presented by the fourth industrial revolution, but ensure that we lead and participate in this current era that we find ourselves. One of the first, and I think the most important recommendation that came out of that report was we as a country need to invest in human capital, which of course speaks to the skill. So just back then in 2019, towards 2020, we wrote to the Department of Higher Education, because you would understand that we're SETA that is mandated to develop skills within the media and ICT space. We then wrote to the department to then ask for establishment of a standalone 4IR division, which would lead in terms of 4IR skills development initiative across the country. Our mandate, of course, was to lead in 4IR skills development for the current workforce and those who want to go into the workforce, in a sense. That would be speaking to our students and alike. We developed a strategy which is called the Integrated Digital Skills Strategy, which complements or integrates what is known as the National Future and Digital Skills Strategy, which guides South Africa's overall implementation of future and digital skills. Core to that integrated digital skills strategy was that we needed to make sure that we include each and everybody and leave no one behind. An objective, at least one of the key objectives in that strategy, was to ensure that we equip young people in rural areas and in township areas with at least one 4IR skill, in a sense. And we've then, over the years, become very intentional as to where we develop our 4IR skills initiatives, in a sense, where we directly and intentionally roll out skills development initiatives in rural areas, such as the Agincourt of this world, the Namakwa land of this world, where you would understand, if you've ever been to Namakwa land, you literally fly there to Uppington and drive another 4 to 5 hours. That's how far it is, in a sense. This, of course, aims to bridge the digital skills gap that exists, but also bridge the digital divide, in a sense. We've worked not only with SMMEs and private sector companies, but we made sure that we also work with the academia. We then developed what is known or adopted a model which is known as the triple Helix model, which ensures that we foster innovation through these various parties, which is government, private sector, as well as academia. You would know, ladies and gentlemen, that over the past years, we've been skilling our young people into unemployment. It's a standard fact. 60% of those young people that are unemployed include graduates. We were told as we were young that we need to go to university and study. Companies will be fighting for us, but it's the other way around. We're fighting for companies. Most young people are seated at home. Then that, as a 4IR division within the MICT SETA, really prompted us to rethink how we roll out our skills development initiative. We shouldn't be training young people into unemployment. We should also, one of the speakers spoke about innovation. Innovation is very key in terms of economic development, because once we give young people a skill, then we then equip them with the capability to actually be able to innovate. And this is how we've been implementing our programs throughout the country, nationwide, creating young entrepreneurs, because we understand that not all of them, even if we skill them, might not be able to secure a job. But you know, when you create an innovator, and an innovator stands a chance to become an entrepreneur is likely to employ other people, which then is another way or method of actually trying to really deal with this conundrum of unemployment, in a sense. To date, we've actually developed over 57 occupational qualifications that speak to 4IR. AI, cybersecurity, and the likes. I can count all 57 of them and counting, to ensure that the skills that we are equipping these young people are actually in demand and skills that are really relevant in the labor market, in a sense. So I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. Well done.